I'm just curious. You've been around the King for a while now. You go to the race shop, there's all these cars. You know, the King maybe can't hear like he used to. Have you ever snuck out one of the cars?
No, I haven't. He had a car up there for a long time, and I got in it, and I was like, man, I wonder if this thing will fire up. And it was inside, so I turned the battery on, and it would have fired up. It cranked, but I didn't start it. No.
Could you imagine the King coming through with his guns? You know, who's doing that? Right down here. What's your name?
My name is Tammy, and I'm from Lansing, Michigan. I just want you to know that every time you read, I am on Facebook listening to you, and I have no kids at home. It's just you and me, honey.
I appreciate it.
So,
thank you,
Eric, and that's so sweet, but every time you come up here, we talk about your foundation, and I always talk about this lady that writes to me and tells me that she watches you every time you read.
Well,
and you read to her, and she is here in person. That's her.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So this would be a great point. Why don't you talk about your foundation and what you do? I mean, because it keeps getting bigger and bigger every time and every year.
It's been fun. Yeah, it's been almost 2 years we've had the foundation now, and you know, 3 main pillars. Reading, obviously, we just kind of talked about number one, and reading with children and children's literacy has been a big thing for me. And we started to donate some book vending machines to schools, which has been awesome. Doing some in-person live readings, which has been fun. You just saw Oscar. We do some animal welfare work, and then we also do a lot of work with the cancer, and especially cancer early detection and prevention. I lost my father to cancer. Melanoma is a big awareness thing for us through the summer, being at the racetrack and what we do with that. So it's been fun growing the foundation, and been excited to see where it's going to go. It's been getting bigger and bigger, so it's been fun.
Okay, to back that up, Tammy has a follow-up.
Yeah, are you going to have the donations for books at Michigan in 2 weeks? Because we donated last year.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll find out, though, and let you know.
Will you post that on social?
I will if we do, 100%.
Okay. And right down here, what's your name?
Kim.
Kim, what's your question?
Every week you come to these tracks, you do your meet and greets, you sign autographs, you take photos. Has there ever been anybody that you've stopped, like Richard or Jimmy or anybody even out of the NASCAR world, for a photo?
You guys are gonna crack up. There's been one guy I can think of my whole life, and it was in Nashville 2 or 3 years ago. Kid Rock was there, and I'm a Michigan guy, and I'm like, man, I gotta stop and ask him for a picture. The only time I've really been like, man, I have to meet this guy and get a photo. So that was cool.
I'm just curious. Do you send your PR people over there, or do you actually walk up?
No, he was just hanging out outside one of the haulers. So I just walked over and introduced myself, and like, hey man, we just take a picture, said I'm a Michigan guy, and talk about where we were from. So it was fun. It was cool.
Right down here. What's your name?
My name's Mike.
Mike, what's your question, buddy?
Well, first of all, good luck today. Hope you get it done. A few years ago, when they had the throwback races in September in Darlington, Ken Squire called the second stage and referred to you as that Jones boy. What was your reaction to that when you first heard it?
I didn't know, obviously. I was racing at the time, and then I was riding home with a couple of my buddies had come to the race with me, and we took off to drive back to Charlotte, and they were cracking up, and they kept calling me that Jones boy, and I'm like, I really have no idea what you guys are talking about. So they brought the clip up, and yeah, it's stuck ever since. You know, that's been 7 years now. That's been a long time, but we still use it sometimes. We got some koozies and some apparel and stuff we've put it on. But yeah, I always like my grandfather. We lost him a little earlier this year, but he loved it. He always said that people called him the Jones boy or the Jones boys, so he thought that was pretty cool.
Right down here, what's your name?
Who is your favorite driver to talk to, like, off the track?
Oh yeah, you have any friends outside the track?
That's a good question.
Hang out with anybody? Talk shop?
Yeah, I mean, William Byron's guy I've probably known for a while, and just talked to off the track and talked to before the races and stuff. So you know, he's obviously close to my age, so we spent a good amount of time together.
Right here we have Rose. Rose, what is your question?
What is the craziest thing a fan ever asked you to sign?
What's the craziest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign? And just remember, there are kids here.
No, probably
a book.
A book, yeah. Probably prosthetic legs. I've had a couple of those, or arms. That's definitely been a surprising one when it comes up.
Have you seen anybody get a tattoo yet of your signature or your face?
You know, I've had a couple signatures I've signed on people's arms, and they're like, "Hey, make sure it's nice because I'm gonna get this tattooed." But I've yet to see. I don't know if maybe they were, drinking that day, woke up the next day and like not happening, but they planned.
Right here. What's your name?
Haley,
Haley, and what's your question?
what's your favorite and least favorite track?
Favorite and least favorite track?
Favorite, favorite probably Darlington. I've had a lot of success there. Least favorite, Martinsville, easily 100%. Not a big fan. just not a fan.
Right here. What's your name?
Daniel,
Daniel, what's your question?
since Noah Gragson was following your footsteps, being really successful in the Xfinity Series, and since he joined Legacy, how have you been mentoring him to become, a successful Cup driver in the future as a rookie? Just battling the ins and outs of his rookie Cup Series.
That's a great question. Do you literally have to chase him around? Because that guy moves all the time. I mean, he's fast.
Yeah, he moves around a lot. He's hard to keep on one thing, but I've talked to him a lot. Obviously, as a rookie in Cup, it's tough no matter what, but I think it's probably tougher now than even when I was doing it, for a lot of reasons. Less practice, different cars, and a few other things. But, I've been trying to help him as much as I can. He came and did some tests with us later last year. We did some testing this year where I've tried to work with him and just on some small driving stuff. But we've been working through our cars and our setups and what he wants and likes out of his car and what's going to be different from mine. We're constantly working to get Noah better, and I think we're getting our cars better. We haven't had the car speed we've wanted either, so it's not totally on him learning. But we've been getting our cars better now and just trying to get Noah to keep going along with that. So, definitely help him as much as we can.
What's your name, buddy?
Josiah,
Josiah, what's your question, buddy?
Eric, what's your favorite childhood racing memory?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, for me, myself, I started racing when I was 7. And I remember we used to go to these events called regionals, which were races where you'd have 4 different groups of racing clubs at the time for go-karts come together. So you had a big turnout, and you kind of got the best of everybody in your region to come. And we won one of those for the first time a couple years into my racing career, and that was my first, real big win. So beat the best guys in the area, and that was one that was really special to me and in my family, because we weren't racers, and we didn't have anybody really helping us. It was just kind of us figuring it out, and so that was pretty cool.
Buddy, it's never enough time when you come here. I'm glad you showed up a little bit early. Please put your hands together right now for Eric Jones.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Have fun. 10 days away. 10 days, buddy. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.